Okay, hello, welcome back. In this lesson, what we're going to be talking about is colors. Now, so far we've used some pretty basic colors like blue and red, and CSS does support, a fair amount of named colors. That's what those are called. So blue, red, orange, yellow. Just assume that I could spell orange right. White, black, gray, dark gray, things like that. Purple, various shades of purple. I mean, there are a lot of named ones out there, and you can go and Google those if you want, but this lesson is not about the named ones. I tend to not use the named ones because they're all the same, and they're not usually very good. So before we get started, I just want to show you that I have style.css in here, style.css, and I'm going to change my h1 color to be blue, and when I refresh my page, let's close this other tab, my color is blue. Whoop-de-doo. If you look at any website, you pretty much never see this color blue unless it's some ugly website. But what you might want is, do you want black? Black being typically the default, or yellow. So these are all named colors. And while that's fine, they don't give you a lot of shades. And so there are tons of shades. There are hundreds of shades, thousands, millions maybe of, yellow, or orange, or red. So how do we access those? Well, we can do this in a few different ways, actually. So the first one is a named. I'm going to comment this out and just say, this one was named. This is a named color. And the next one would be, let's use a hex. So hex starts with the pound sign, number sign, whatever you want to call it. And it's usually 6 letters and numbers long. And you can use anything from 0 to 9. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And anything from A to F. A, B, C, D, E, and F. And you can mix pretty much any of these. So I know off the top of my head what this one does. Look, we have red. Is this different from this color red? A little bit. I'm hoping that the change is actually visible here. So there is a little bit of a difference there. One is basically a raw red in hex, and the other one is just called red. And so there is a little bit of a shade difference. If you're thinking, well, Caleb, why do such minor shades actually matter? You wouldn't believe it, but when you start making absolutely beautiful websites, the slightest shade can make a difference. So let's do 0. 0 was black. Now, okay, so that's black. Now going back to our red example, we have F0000000, a bunch of zeros, right? That's that one. But if we change it to be repeating, so it's the first 3 letters, but twice, the shade changes ever so slightly. Now, is it different from this red? Yeah, a little bit. Now, what if we did 555, 555? Now we've got like a gray color. Okay, so now we can work with some shades. Now, if you ever see something like this or this, where it's just 3 letters or 3 characters or just 3 numbers, that's because your browser is assuming that it's going to repeat it. So 555 is the same as 6 of them in a row. And just to show you, let's save that, refresh. It's the same color. Now we can get letters involved in this too. So F is the whitest color. Can't even see it, but if I select it, there it is. So we have a range in hex now that goes, that's black, all the way down to, well, it's going to get into lighter black, and I'll show you in just a sec. So this is like a light black, and then it goes into A's, and then B's, and C's, and it gets lighter and lighter and lighter until it gets to F. So essentially, what your hex colors look like are, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way down to A. Whoops, I don't know why I did that one. A, B, C, D, not display, D, E, and F. So to show you what I mean. Okay, so we've got black, refresh, we've got black. We've got gray. But what happens if we go down to 9? It gets even lighter. Now what happens if we go AAA, which is the same as AAAAA? Had one too many in there. Oh, look at that. It's pretty similar. ABBB. It's getting lighter, getting lighter. It's getting lighter, and this happens over and over and over and over again until we get to FFF, which is white. Now you can mix letters and numbers together. So we could do, let's do, I honestly have no idea what this is going to be. A purpley pink color. That's actually a pretty nice color. And there's not really any human way to read this. I mean, you can break it down, but honestly, learning hex, like being able to read this and realize that it's pink, it's a waste of your time. Don't do that. Now, there's another way to add color. And I'm just going to comment this out and say hex colors. Oh, and by the way, if you want to comment something out in CSS, it's just slash and then asterisk, anything in here, and then asterisk slash. It's like this in a lot of programming languages too. So going back to our color, we have one more way, and that's called RGB, red, green, blue. So you can see that my browser gives me two options, RGB and RGBA. RGBA is a CSS3, it means alpha, and gives us basically translucency or opacity on our text. We're not going to work with that one. We're just working with RGB, that's red, green, blue. Now in this instance, colors go from 0 to 255. So 0, 0, 0 is black. And we know that because before when we were writing 0, 0, 0, right? Red, green, blue. So if I save and refresh, it's black. And if I go all the way down to 255, 255, and 255, this is pretty much, actually it is, the exact same as saying FFF, FFF. And so if I save and refresh this, can't see it, but when I select it, there it is. Now what happens when I mix red, green, and blue with different colors or different integers? So we've got 20, we've got 120, and we've got 80. I have no idea what this is going to be, by the way. Look, greenish. Or if we change that by adding just a 1 in front of the 20, or if we remove this one entirely, so there's no green at all. So it's 120 red, 0 green, 80 blue. Well, look at that. So now we have three ways of writing colors. And this one is just RGB colors. So in summary, we have three different color types. We have named colors, we have hex colors, and we have RGB colors. Now, if you live in the UK or if you live in Canada, you'll probably realize that I'm spelling the word color wrong. For you guys, the word color is with an O quite often. We don't spell it that way in CSS. It's always the American way, so it's C-O-L-O-R every single time. All right, so your task for this video is to go and Google a bunch of hex colors. There are hundreds and hundreds of websites that just have lists and lists and lists of hex colors. Just go and familiarize yourself with some of them. There are some that are obviously much more important, like black and white, super common. Maybe like yellow and red, pretty common as well. But anything else, you can really use a named color, or you can use some sort of color picker tool out there, which will basically, you can put that little eyedropper icon on top of a certain color and it'll give you the exact hex for the proper shade. And a lot of times it'll also give you the RGB color as well. Typically in web development, we stick with hex colors. Named colors don't have enough shades, but hex colors have just enough. And RGB is a little bit too far. Like we're pushing the boundaries too much there, in the sense that we don't need to know the red, green, and blue values. We just need the color itself. Now that changes when we get into RGBA, but that's a subject for a different lesson. So your task, go ahead and Google some hex colors.